Hi there, and welcome back to another CFD cookie with Wolřej Dynamics. And now this is a continuation of the previous one, now that we run a steady on a steady and local time stepping, everything was in basic. So now the modification will be, let's run viscous. So pretty much we know what to do to change the numerics, the time variable. So now we need to do just a small modification, the mesh, but also the models. So now we're going to have turbulence. So basically what we have previously was this mesh that I'm zooming here, and we have this. So nice mesh for an basic solution or something that you don't care for the boundary layer. But now we move to the viscous solution and we need to have a better resolution. I'm not going to say that this is a perfect resolution. Well, we added here the boundary layer. So 3 layers, which is, let's say, more than enough to add wall functions. Here you have the starting points. We want to add something final, which I have to say is super tricky. But what I really like about a snappyHexMesh, not everything is bad, they have some good things as well, is that the meshing, the boundary relation, is what is called pre-BL, meaning that taking any it's post-BL, taking any mesh type, and look at that, doesn't matter if they are tetra, poly, quads, or whatever, it will just move away from the wall. Okay, it will move away from the wall, the surface, and then we'll insert there the boundary layer. Instead, many other tools are pre-BL. It will do the surface mesh, and then it will add the boundary layer. Here we have this nice property that will let us do this. So I will show you first how to do this. We are going to check we are going to check the dictionary for snappyHexMesh, and then we're going to run the simulation. So it's very straightforward. The case is pretty much the same. Remember, you have solutions here. So on a steady and local 10 stepping with boundary layer, here you have the mesh and Fluent that later we're going to use it. And let's open now the dictionary. So nothing is different here, okay? Or probably change something because we added the determinants model. Later we see that, but we need to open only these 2 files. Okay, so we have it already here, and then the mesh quality. So here we have the mesh quality standard. So we have a very extensive playlist on how to use snappyHexMesh and so on. So I'm not going to go into detail for this case. Pretty much this is the standard. The only thing that I change here from other standards that I use, or standard practices, that usually this is negative, so I prefer to put it here positive, personal choice, but you can rerun and check. No, it's already fast adding the boundary layer, but pretty much there is no much different. But I have to say I prefer in this way. You will guarantee that you have positive volumes. Documentation, the documentation, what you read in the source code will say that having negative will improve boundary layer. Okay, I cannot say anything about that. It's up to test that. Now when it comes for a snappyHexMesh, so look at that. Here we only need to add the boundary layer. So you go to the beginning of the dictionary, false, and true, only boundary layer. Geometry, no need to read geometry, and even if you have something there, it's going to be ignored. Then you go to castellation. Here these options you need to leave it, okay? You don't need to put anything about surface, feature edges, and volume refinement. You need to leave these default options. And by the way, be careful that you are going to add a lot of inflation layers, prismatic layers, or prismatic cells. You need to increase these numbers. The maximum cell, the rest, they can stay the same. This one also, you need to put it there. Be sure that it's inside the domain, but it doesn't matter, okay? It doesn't have a big influence. These parameters you need to use as well as that control, even though that you are not doing anything in your volume, in your starting mesh. When it's checking the surface to add the new inflation layer. It might do something, it might switch some faces, split some cells and so on. So you need to leave this one, use your recommended parameters, or at least my recommended parameters. So this is okay. And here's where you do your boundary layer. Okay, so we know that we have these surfaces, select all the surfaces where you want to grow the boundary layer. So here we're only growing on the walls of the aircraft, no intake, no exhaust. I want to put those 3 layers. Remember, increase that number of as you like. So here I'm forcing relative sizes. I'm going to have the precise dimension. In previous tutorials or using my standard practice, I prefer to use relative sizes. It's up to you, play around. For this particular case, I have more control using the absolute sizes or relative sizes false. This means that whatever you give here, it is the actual distance. So look at that here, my first layer distance. I use this one, my minimum thickness and expansion rate. So minimum thickness needs to be lower than the first layer thickness, and that's it. Okay, or probably you can put it the same. It's up to you. You play. Then you have all these parameters. Okay, standard ones, probably feature angle. You're going to see some influence here. This is very important, no? Especially when we visualize the times visualizing the mesh, we are going to see what is happening here. But if you increase this one, it might improve. Okay, if you reduce it, it's going to be worse, but in some specific regions. That's it. At this point, we're ready to run. Okay, as you see, very easy. You already have the mesh. So we have two scripts. The first one to run the boundary layer, and the second is the solution. So first part, okay, will be this, and then the next video we check the simulation, which is pretty much the same. So what we're doing here, converting the starting mesh, okay, where we don't have the boundary layer, and now we use snappyHexMesh to add that prismatic layer and the standard checkmess and so on. So we don't erase the time step because we're going to do visualization and check now the quality on the surface and so on. And here it's just to change some patches as we have done so far. So let's do this one. This is relatively fast. So remember, we're running OpenFOAM 13 and off you go. And also this mesh is running, the mesh generation is running using in serial. I prefer to do the meshing in serial, but if you want, you can do it in parallel as well. So here you have some information. We covered all that in previous videos, but it's telling you. So look at that already. We can say that it's a acceptable mesh. It's doing all the iterations. So you only have 14 faces with this volume. Okay, so you can check now that related mesh quality. Okay, if you put a negative volume, this control will stop, so you will have a faster mesh, not necessarily a better mesh. Okay, but this influences now the prismatic layer, as you can see. So at the end, you see that you have all the walls here, you have your coverage. So do not pay attention to this. Okay, it's better to visualize. Okay, probably I don't know how this is measured. Probably there are some issues, or measuring something else, something different, as the compute average areas or so on. But in this case, does not reflect this monitor does not reflect the actual coverage. Okay, it's much better, the coverage. Then we go here, check mesh, everything perfect. Just excuses a little bit high, but this is acceptable, and this is it. At this point, you have the mesh. So constant, you have the original mesh with no boundary layer, no prismatic layer. In one, we have the mesh now with the prismatic layer. So let's launch Paraview and let's do some comparison. Or let's first check the mesh. So apply here, and let me do extract here. So select everything and extract here, fuselage, the aircraft, everything, and my symmetry plane there. And let me do another extraction, internal mesh. Okay, so here first let's visualize in the surface. So in the symmetry plane, as we zoom in, there you go. So you have your mesh growing. Okay, then here is collapse a little bit in this large angle, and here is growing. Here you have this collapse, and here what I was mentioning now, you have this effect here that kind of it becomes smaller, and probably it appears that it's going to collapse. But the reason now, and let me rotate here, is that when you start to have larger angles now between the surfaces, and let me go here and let me show this here. So zooming in, there you go. So you start to have here larger angles between this surface and this surface. Look at that, you have this issue that kind of appears to collapse. Instead, in this one where you have a clear angle, something a little bit higher than 90, 120, it grows better. Here it grows perfectly, and here, well, you have these issues and you have those problems. So you can get an idea what is happening, and the importance of this angle, that, and this is a nice case that you can verify that that is not the angle between surfaces. So as you put everything below 130 or above 130, it's not going to grow the boundary layer. So in theory, you put there 180, and you see the comment here, or I don't like to use 180, 179. Some people can put 350. It's not like a circle, but it will be the same as you put 350 will be the same to 100, 170. Okay, so it's up to you to play with those parameters. So you can get an improvement. Also, you have the volumes and so on. So that being said, we have the mesh, everything perfect. And now also remember that in that time step 1, we also have the information of the coverage. So I will look at the surface layers, and there you go. This is your coverage. So remember that the monitor here you have, well, somewhere at the top, let's see if I have it. There you go. So it wasn't that good, especially in the strake, and the horizontal tail is telling you like 50-60%, but look at that, it's much larger than that. So, but yeah, there are some issues, but it's much larger, and actually it's fully covered. Okay, all over. Probably here now no coverage, you know, a small section, but the strake, for instance, you have almost complete coverage, some issues there. So this mesh, it is no good coverage. By no means is a perfect, no, the ideal mesh for boundary layer, but here it is. This is our starting point for the viscous simulation. If you want, you can run with the other mesh of viscous case. Okay, but remember, you have the boundary layer is much better now to solve with the prismatic layer and so on to get an acceptable Y+. So that's it for this video. Okay, so in the next one, we just run the simulation. So thank you for your attention, and see you next video. Bye.